Hello and welcome to our coffee break with Ninita. This is a way to face the coronavirus together by talking and sharing thoughts and feelings. The epidemic has become very draining for our hearts, our bodies, our minds, and discussion like this, I believe, can recharge us. So I hope and pray that we will continue having this kind of podcast that will anchor us as we are going through this journey all together globally. The title for today's talk is Wash Your Hands for 20 Seconds. Wash your hands for 20 seconds. Some people are doing that by staring at their watch. Others are doing that by singing happy birthday. That is a very good, positive way of doing it. And I have also heard the suggestion of doing that, washing hands for 20 seconds thoroughly, by saying the Lord's Prayer, the Our Father. And I find this very soothing, very, very good. And I will share with you why I feel it is good. And I will encourage more people to do that know the prayer. What does washing your hands mean? Well, literally it means make sure that your hands are frequently thoroughly clean, so when we touch our eyes, our face, our eyes, our mouth, which is a natural instinctive thing to do throughout the day, the virus that we might have in our hands by touching things around us that others have touched will not find their way into our system. But it also means something else. How often we do things that we don't think them through, like touching the face. We do it throughout the day. I do it throughout the day often, or I was doing it throughout the day often. Scratching my cheek or my eye, things like that. Touching my mouth. And now we are stressing how important it is not to do that, but this is something we have been doing, and we have been transferring a lot of other stuff into our eyes, into our system, through touching them and then touching our eyes and our mouth. Where I'm going with that is that the same way we instinctively transmit matter into our system that is not good for us, we are also instinctively allow thoughts, ideas, behaviors into our lives that are not necessarily good for us. So when I choose to wash my hands for 20 seconds at this time to make sure that I protect my face and my mouth and my eyes, who pretty much are the gatekeepers of the outside world with my system, my body, the same way the Lord's Prayer can become a gatekeeper that will prevent thoughts, ideas that are sort of draining, and I will explain what I mean by that, to get into my mind and into my heart. What kinds of thoughts and ideas I'm keeping from entering into my heart and into my mind? Ideas of, oh my God, I'm going to die. Oh my God, these terrible Chinese, I hate all of them. Or, oh my God, we are going to be destroyed because of dark forces, and so on and so forth. These are ideas and thoughts that are produced from fears, and these are exactly the same thoughts and feelings that derive from fears, derive from panic. So we actually become very ugly human beings once we let panic either come into us or panic come out of us as a result of the events. So, like we're trying to, keep our mouth and eyes from getting the virus into our system, we also need to keep our hearts and our minds from letting those toxic thoughts and ideas to come into our system. Very often I hear about these terrible Chinese. We have to stop that. We seriously have to stop that. We seriously have to make sure that we are letting panic and fear drain the energy that we very much need. First, to anchor, and second, to help us stay healthy. This is not me saying that, but a healthy body cannot exist with sick thoughts, with half thoughts. I'm using HALF as an acronym for hurt, anger, loneliness, fears, and frustration. Half thoughts, or thoughts that lead to half emotions, is part of our journey. It is not our destination. We not park in a half place, mentally and emotionally. It is natural when we hear bad news, scary news, to feel hurt, to feel anger, to feel loneliness, to feel fear and frustration. It is natural. But then it is an opportunity for us to do something about it. Figuratively speaking, touch our face without washing our hands from half emotions, or let the half emotions be taken care of before they touch our hearts and our minds. This is why I find it so important that by the grace of God, I will try every day to say a few things. Do I believe that those things are the best thing that you will hear that day? Of course not. But I hope that would put the brakes into poisoning our hearts and our minds against each other. We need the people that surround us. We need the people in the whole world to have peace with. Why? Whether we like it or not, we're sharing the same world. And because of the epidemic, because of the coronavirus, we have just realized how small the world is and how close really we are with each other. The same way that this virus has been touching every part of the world, why not a positive attitude, a loving attitude, a caring, a compassionate, an optimistic, a hopeful attitude, that we are all together to fight it, to fight everything that could put in danger our worlds, our lives, to fight it together, not to fight with each other. Let's not lose sight of what is our quote-unquote enemy. We're not each other's enemy. What is our enemy is that we sometimes are on autopilot and we do and say things that we don't realize the consequences. Like we touch our face without realizing that we might be transmitting something to our mouth and to our eyes. We don't touch it because we want to get sick. We touch it without thinking. The same way, our words and our doings are doing the same exactly thing. Touch our lives and other people's lives by bringing something, by spreading rather, something not healthy. Thoughts and feelings are energy. You cannot touch a thought. When the thoughts and feelings become action, then you can see it. Breaking something, hurting someone, destroying something, this you can see. This is when the thoughts and feelings find their way to doings, to actions. Thoughts and feelings can also go the opposite direction. This is not a new idea. The other direction the thoughts and feelings can go to is faith. What do you think we're doing when we pray? We turn our thoughts and feelings away from doings that derive especially from a half place. Hurt, anger, loneliness, frustration, sadness don't have to become source of distraction. If we take all those emotions and the thoughts that go along and lead them to the other direction, not to the doings, but to the praying. How? God, forgive me. My thoughts are not something that I like. God, have mercy on me. What does that mean? Wash away the toxicity that my thoughts and my feelings carry, so that they will prevent them from becoming terrible doings. Thoughts and feelings are also through prayer. Good thoughts and feelings are also through prayer can become even better. Whether we like it or not, we have two choices: isolate or share with each other and with God. No. This is not going to be a lesson for theology. Not at all. This is a discussion that I hope and pray that, if nothing else, will help you see and focus on thoughts and feelings that we have no control over when we think and feel, what we think and feel, because it is a result of what we are exposed to or experience. So if I say I will never be sad again, I'm fooling myself. I will never be depressed again, I will never be anxious again, I'm fooling myself. However, once I'm feeling it, whether it is a happy thought and feeling or a sad and scary thought and feeling, we can actually turn our attention to prayer. One of the things that I have seen happening, which is usually when something terrible happens, it also gives room for something very good to happen. At least this is how I see it. You don't have to agree with me. That kind of panic and fear that we all feel as a result of the virus, instinctively finds people praying more, attending services through the internet more, and pretty much what I said earlier, reaching a point of not only washing hands every 20 minutes, but praying to God every 20 minutes. And by praying, those thoughts and feelings are prevented from touching the heart and the soul and the mind. So that fear, every time that is this experience, either through the news or through getting a phone call or getting from a friend or a colleague that is not feeling well, that fear that touches our lives more and more will turn it into faith. And this is the way where fear and panic and half emotions will not be our destination we go to every day from now on, but faith that leads to hope, to optimism, to loving, to feel compassion, to care, becomes our new way of life. And you know what? It's interesting. Psychologically, when we maintain ourselves in a half state, remember, half means hurt, anger, loneliness, frustration, 4 of the many emotions that are product of unpleasant events. When we allow those emotions to control us, we fall into survival mode. Attack, avoidance. Tunnel vision, where reality is distorted. And chemically, our system changes. And this is pretty much like using our energy the way that we'll use, I don't know, a machine into the fullest capacity all the time, it will break down. Living in survival mode makes us break down, not only mentally and emotionally, but physically. We become more prone into getting sick. On the other hand, when we take those thoughts and feelings and redirect them by actions that take us to attending spiritual talks, attending church services, being compassionate, loving and caring, reaching out and talking to each other about faith, with faith, that reaches, or leads rather, to a different destination. That, interesting enough, that destination, in order to arrive, we have to go through dark places. Challenges, I mean. Difficulties, I mean. And that place does not block clear thinking. If anything else, it opens it up. That faith opens up our minds and our hearts in ways that we feel more empowered, and we feel more enlightened, and we feel more optimistic. And that kind of, we will beat it by the grace of God, is much more, it can take us much further than, I hate you, I want to kill you. That, it's self-destructive, the second one. The other one, by the grace of God, we will beat it, brings everybody, every single person in the whole entire world together, brothers and sisters, united in faith. Do you know how powerful that is that I just said? If we manage to do that through love, caring, faith, compassion, being there for each other, I assure you, there will be no world to be destroyed in the end. Thank you for being with me this morning and discussing the wash your hands for 20 seconds topic of our coffee break with Ninita. See you tomorrow.